All right, looks like we're live. Welcome everyone to this episode of PEPTalk, Productive Environment Podcast. Today we're talking about the power of a project, lessons learned at Project Palooza. I am Andrea Anderson, CEO of I'm the CEO of Carolina Beach. No, that's not right. CEO of Productive Environment Institute here in Carolina Beach, North Carolina, and I'm joined by
Barbara Hemhill from Raleigh, North Carolina.
I got us all discombobulated. So welcome, guys. We are thrilled to be here. We actually had Saturday school. I like to call it Saturday school this past weekend, where we brought our some of our clients, our SOAR members, and some other clients together for something we call Project Palooza. And we're going to just talk to you about some things we learned from that Project Palooza. So in this conversation, we're going to share some highlights, some lessons learned, and even a few stories from participants that really capture why choosing and tackling one project can make such a difference. Barbara?
You know, so many of us have everybody. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't go to bed at night thinking about things that they wish they'd done or that they need to do or want to do or whatever. And it's so easy to procrastinate about them. And so this was an opportunity that we had to say to people, what is something that you want to do? Sometimes it may be something very deep. One of the questions that I often like to ask people is, if you left this earth tonight, what regret would you have? It's amazing how many times people have answered the question with the mess I'm leaving my children. I mean, we've heard that so many times. But other times we hear things about, well, I've always wanted to write a book. Research shows that 80% of the population believes they have a book in them, but only 2% actually publish it. So other times it's a different project. So that's what we used on this Project Palooza, and it was so awesome.
That's great. I didn't know it was just 2% that actually write the book. So
3% write it.
Oh, 2% publish it.
But it's only 3% that write it. 3% write it and 2% publish it.
Wow. Well, I'm excited because my very first book is coming out. It is out. It's with the publisher now, and it's taken me. So I've always thought I have a book in me. I was one of those people like, I should write a book. And finally, years and years and years later, I finally did it. And it didn't take me as long as I thought it would. So those of you that are considering writing a book, go ahead and start and reach out to Barbara. Barbara, you just, you can help get them started. Like sometimes that's all it takes is just getting started and creating a plan.
A vision. Well, first it's implementing the vision. And we did this on Project Palooza. I mean, so the every single project that the people were working on, we use our 5-step process. State your vision. Like if this book is written, if you're not leaving your children, what would it look like? And then 2, identify your obstacles. Why haven't you done it? I'm scared. I don't know what to do, all those things. And then 3 is, what are your resources? What tools do you have? What knowledge do you have? What friends do you have? What resources do you have? And then we go to step 4. I always say my daddy used to say, where the rubber meets the road, which is to create and execute your plan. So it's in order to reach this vision, overcoming these obstacles with these resources, here's the plan. That's what we did with Project Palooza. We help people use that framework. And then that takes us to the 5th one, which is where most people fail. This is where millions of people have started books and they're not finished because they didn't sustain your success. And that's where PEI and our SOAR program comes in, is helping you sustain your success.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's easy when it's just you with an idea of something to do, like write a book. Barbara, we need to do a whole episode on writing a book. We'll do that another time. But but when you just have the idea and you want to do it and you're alone, like I could have done this years ago, but it just never was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I never created the project. I never created the plan. And so there was no success to sustain. So actually sitting down and going through those 5 steps are really, really important. And when you do that, then you can come out of that with a project. So anyway, I do want to talk about that more later on.
Okay, great.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things, regardless of the project, actually, let me back up. We have done several workshops for our clients and also people that are new to us. So if you're new to this channel and you're just meeting us, Barbara and Andrea with Productive Environment Institute, and we have a team of certified productive environment specialists as well around the world. And we do a lot of workshops we've done one called Palooza, where everybody that jumps on, we're on Zoom together, we're all working together, and we're sorting paper. We're doing what we call the first sort. Sorting it from, does this need action? Is this something to keep for future reference? Or is this something I can toss? And we've done that together very successfully, and it's a lot of fun. We've done photo palooza or picture palooza. We've done desktop detox, with your digital information. And we've always had a good time with them. This time we decided that we wanted to let you guys, or let the participants, choose what they wanted to work on, because some might want to work on paper, some might want to work on digital, and some wanted to work on something completely different. And we just let that be okay. So we said, we will bring the structure and the environment, and we want you to bring the project. And so everybody brought a different project. We have a private workspace where people were able to join early and pop in there and say, this is the project I'm working on. This is what I'm working on. So everybody had something a little bit different. But out of that came 7 themes that we wanted to share with you guys. Okay. So the first one is define success before you start. So, and I was really clear at the beginning that success does not mean finishing. Okay. Success did not mean finishing everything. I did not finish the whole project, and I'll tell you what that was in a few minutes for me. But it meant making meaningful progress. Okay. And in fact, one participant, she uploaded a picture of a corner of her bedroom, and she said, I want to declutter the corner of my bedroom. Well, there was a lot of stuff there. And so I was like, well, I'm not sure that she would get through. What does success look like? Does everything need to be out of there? Or, do things need to be put away or just moved? And she said, just seeing the carpet would be success. So she wanted to declutter enough that she could see the carpet, and she did it. She did it in the project. So Barbara, do you want to chime in on that? And then I'm going to share what another one of our participants said about it.
Well, one of the things that's really critical, we're going back to vision again. And so often people don't start things because they only look at the big vision and not the little. So incremental success is really important. And that's what we did in Project Palooza. It was giving people incremental success and then encouraging them to celebrate every little thing. And sometimes it was discovering that what you wanted to do, you really didn't want to do after all, because you explored it enough to say that isn't exactly what I want.
Well, and it's funny because we had some participants that listed, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. And I'm like, that may be a little too much for this particular workshop, because we get excited and we're like, oh, I can accomplish all this, because the workshop was 3 hours. And that may sound like a long time, but it flew by. And so because I asked them to post before the workshop, I was able to say, okay, which of these pick one of the projects. And if you were able to make progress on that, which one would be the most important one? And she was like, oh yeah, I thought about that. So she backed up and picked one. So that's what we want you guys to do. You are going to have an opportunity. If you didn't participate with us, you will have an opportunity to actually do what we're calling Project Palooza on demand, where you can actually sign up and go. You'll have the exact structure that we used for this project, and the conversations between the work sessions are priceless. So more on that a little bit later. But one of our participants said, I'm feeling really optimistic and so grateful for you guys doing this Project Palooza. Instead of forcing myself into something generic, I got to choose a project that really moves my health and finances forward. So she wanted something completely, maybe not completely different, but a little bit different than just decluttering or organizing paper or email. She was focused on something that had to do with her health and her finances. So I'm happy that we gave them, Barbara, the opportunity to bring their own project. That seemed to work out really well.
Well, it fits in with our love for the art of organizing.
Yeah, absolutely. So number 2, so that was number 1, define success before you start. So what is enough? What is enough? So for me, like I had 2 boxes of notebooks, old notebooks through the years that I would just take notes in and jot things down. And I knew I wouldn't get through all of those notebooks in this session. So I said, if I got through 8, that would be success. And I did. And I'm still not finished. There's actually some notebooks sitting right back there on my coffee table. But that was a successful project, and it gave me momentum to address the rest of them. Okay. Number 2, the second big theme that we came out with is intentional projects bring lightness. So I don't know how many times we heard that word, and we've been hearing it for weeks now, Barbara. That seems to be the theme. So we define an intentional project as one with a clear outcome, not a vague to do. So for me, my clear outcome was to process 8 notebooks, not just process notebooks, because process notebooks has taken me 3 years because I haven't taken the time. I haven't been focused on it. I didn't set a goal before and after. So because I had a clear outcome, I did it. I focused on it. And so many of our participants repeatedly described feeling lighter as they made progress. And one participant said, I took a before picture and I would love to send it to you because it does actually look better. And that's an important comment, because at the beginning, she didn't think she could make that kind of progress. She didn't think that this was enough time, that she'd be able to do it. And for her to say it does actually look better is a win. So we're proud of her. Barbara, any additional comments on that? Intentional projects bring lightness.
I think one of the facts is that things that we don't like to do, we always think take longer than they do. And so and one of the things I love doing is going into companies and doing decluttering in companies. And I cannot tell you, we say to employees, okay, you have one task only, is to go into your office, pick up every item in your office and say, does this help me accomplish my work and enjoy my life? If it doesn't, it's clutter. And then we have a place for them to put it. And at first they don't want to do, I've got real work to do. And I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. And after about 2 hours, it's like the energy level just lifts because they're feeling lighter about it. No one believes the difference it's going to make.
Absolutely. And just diving in and doing it together. So number 3, choice creates motivation. So we talked a little bit about this previously. Instead of being told what to tackle, participants appreciated choosing projects that were meaningful to them, whether health, finances, or decluttering, right? And then this is kind of goes back to Barbara's question, which is why I believe that this person actually signed up to do this Project Palooza with us, as one of our clients who's in her 80s. And she said, at my age, I still need help. One big project I realized I'd regret not doing is writing a book for my grandchildren about our life. And so when she saw we were doing this Project Palooza and she heard Barbara's question, we've written about Barbara's question about, if you were to leave this earth tonight, what regret would you have? She took that seriously and she signed up for Project Palooza. So if there's something that you have been meaning to do, wanting to do, and procrastinating on, I encourage you to look into our Project Palooza on demand so that you can join in. And we're still in there. Actually, we're in the chat. Like it's a live event. It's a live group. So you can ask questions, and we have specialists that'll be in there as well. So it's, even though you're not on live with us, you still get the benefit of the group. It's a really neat process. It's a hybrid of live and on demand. Okay. And then number 4, Well, Barbara, before I do that, do you want to?
Go ahead. No, go
Okay,
ahead. That's fine. Good.
Okay. So feel free to jump in if you need to.
Sure.
All right. Number 4, momentum beyond the event. Okay. So Project Palooza was designed to spark consistency. The idea wasn't just one day of progress, but ongoing action. This got us started, right? This got me started on 2 boxes of notebooks I've been procrastinating on for 3 years. It got me started. So the other participants got started. And one of our participants, actually, the other really cool thing that happened is we had a guest coach on. Stephanie Richter joined us, and she helps people. I'll talk about her a little bit later on, but she helps people deal with like the emotional aspect of things. And so one of our participants, who's also one of our specialist trainees, she got to go into a private Zoom breakout room with Stephanie and had a conversation with her. Other people got to jump in Zoom rooms with Barbara and others with Juliana, who's our digital expert. And so that was just really great how that worked out. Everybody got to pop in and get some additional coaching. So this person said Stephanie was very, very good, and Juliana did great too. I'm at my mom's house, and I'm adding the Storeboard system to her computer, which is a program that we created and teach. So we're all up and running already. So she was able to get that set up in her mother's home office during this project, Palooza. So and she had support. She had support from Stephanie. She had support from Juliana. She had support from Barbara and myself during the workshop as well. So
that's an example of together we're better. We just so believe in that. Or my mother used to say, many hands make light work. And it's so true. And I think women especially, in my experience, are reluctant to ask for help. Men will demand it. They don't have any question in most cases. I mean, I'm married to that. If he wants help, he just asks me. Me, it's like, I don't want to be a bother, and I should be able to do this myself, and it's not really a big deal and whatever. But things that are so hard. So the project I worked on was health related because I have switched nutritionist. And so I'm doing all kinds of supplements and herb tinctures and all kinds of things. And it's very complicated. And I didn't have a way to set it up. And I decided to work on that. And it was so helpful to be doing it in community with other people. And I almost got it finished, but I have to finish up a little bit yet. So it's probably 80% there. So it's progress, but I've made 80% of the progress.
That's right. And just knowing you're there with other people, you weren't sitting there in a vacuum. Yeah. So momentum beyond the event. So we want people to keep going. I don't know that anyone actually completed. This wasn't about a completion, but that's why we said, know what success looks like. So how much of it did you want to get done? And some people, it was just getting started was success. For me, that's me. So the next one is progress is progress. So what does that mean? As Barbara mentioned earlier, celebrate every step forward, no matter how small. Don't get stuck in perfectionism or all or nothing thinking. Each cleared item reduces weight and builds momentum. Each notebook that I went through made things lighter for me. Now, at the very beginning of the workshop, and if you join in and do the Project Palooza on demand, you'll hear me say that I have these 2 boxes of notebooks and I need to go through every single page in every single notebook to make a decision if I want to keep something, and I would take a picture of it and save it in my notes or rip it out. I would do something. And I was firm that I have to go through every single piece of paper and make the decision. And then after doing the first 2, I think, is when I said, okay, I've made another decision. I don't need to go through every single piece of paper, because I realized the very first time I did one, not this project, but I had done one notebook a while ago, and it took me 2 hours because I was reading notes and and you know what I did, Barbara? I ended up saving one piece of paper out of that one notebook. And I thought, okay, so during the Project Palooza, because I had a time frame and a goal, I said, this is not realistic. And I heard Barbara's voice on my shoulder saying, you haven't looked at these notebooks in at least 5 years, many of them.
So we go back to Hemphill's principle. If you don't know you have it, or you can't find it, it's of no
That's
value.
right.
It applies here. And the other one is that progress starts with the truth. You don't know until you do something.
Yeah.
How it's, I mean, but you're procrastinating, you're not learning anything. I mean, if you're not doing anything, you're not learning anything. And you can apply that. I mean, I to apply something different, but the principle's the same. I learned that about horseback riding. For years, I thought I loved horses and I wanted horseback riding. Well, through a series of things, I found out I loved horses. But as one of my trainers pointed out, loving horses and loving horseback riding is not the same thing. I wouldn't have known that until I had tried it. And I think that applies to so many things. We try it and we learn. And the term is failing forward.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't get to the point where I could say, I'm just going to take the whole box and dump it. I didn't get there, but I realized I can flip through faster. I can see the gist of it. And there were some notes that I took pictures of and some that I ripped out. So I did do that. So it was kind of, I guess it was kind of a little hybrid in between.
Well, it'll be interesting to see as you go along, because my experience is that often the longer you work at it, the less patience you have with yourself.
Probably, yeah.
Because that's learning. That's part of the learning. I mean, I took several horseback riding lessons with a trainer before I realized, hey, wait a minute, I don't think this is really what I was trying to accomplish. It turned out the reason I liked it before was I was doing with friends, and it was the community that I loved. Yeah. And then suddenly and they didn't have horses available for me anymore. And when I went to the stable, when I went to the stable, it was somebody I didn't really feel connected to. So it took it away. So we learn, and we're often so hard on ourselves. But when Project Palooza was a way for us to learn something about what we're trying to do. And you learned from that. So
I sure did. You just reminded me of another story. I don't know if I ever told you this story, Barbara. Mom's on here. Mom's going to laugh. Hold on, you guys. I'm going to put Mom on stage so you can see her. Okay. So while I tell this story, I'll let you sit there, Mom. So when I was in the 4th grade, I had, Mom, mute out your thing, because I think they're getting some feedback. Actually, I'll just take you off.
No, she's there now. Good.
She's muted now. Okay. So when I was in the 4th grade, somebody came into my class and said, does anybody want to learn how to play the violin? You can take violin lessons, but it's I think it was during math class or something. It was during something that I didn't really want to do. So I volunteered to go to learn how to play the violin. That was really my only reason. I had no interest. I wasn't good at it, but I got out of that class so I could go play the violin. And then my mom, so she always supports me in everything I do. We had a neighbor who was really into the violin, like violin playing. It was like a protege and all this stuff. And the neighbor kind of took over and was trying to thought I was going to grasp onto this, and this was going to be my life, my career. Mom, do you remember all this? Do you remember this part? Vaguely? Okay. Well,
I never heard this story. I love it.
So it got serious. Like, I think the neighbor Mom, it was Anne. I think she gave me a violin that had belonged to her son. And she was really excited for me to be a violinist. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I learned how to play a couple of songs, and then that was it. So I had to tell Mom, I'm like, no, I'm not into this. This is not my thing. So anyway, that was, that could have become, what did you were talking, the horseback riding.
Yeah.
You decide, you got into it thinking because you loved horses, and you went all in because when you do something, you go all into it. And then you realize, no, this isn't really what I want to do. Yeah. So that triggered that memory.
And I think Project Palooza was an opportunity for people to dig in to the truth of that project. I mean, some of the people participating were ecstatic that they made progress. The one person working on a book made some great progress, and she was really excited. And then other people said, no, I don't want to do this at all. And somebody else wanted to do something different. So it was all about learning.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, Mommy, I'll let you go back to the green room. Just wanted you to be there for that story.
That's fun.
Okay. I can't believe I never told you that story, Barbara. I says,
No,
well, my grandmother was a musician. She
I
was a
remember that.
pianist, but I never took piano lessons from her or never did anything. So my little short stint as a violinist. Oh, and I have to tell you this really quick that goes along with it. Barbara, you know Dominique, who is a world-class pianist here in my area. So I was at her house. She was doing a private concert that she does for us sometimes. And she introduced me to her friend who is a world-class violinist. And I said, "Oh, it's nice to meet you." And I said, I introduced myself, and she said, "Oh, you've been playing the violin since the 4th grade." That's what she heard. I said, "No, I played the violin in the 4th grade." She was like, she was about to be impressed with me, and then she realized, oh, okay.
Love it.
She was really neat. Okay, and then all right, so let's go to the next one, and then I'll go to some of the comments. So if you guys are watching, please do comment. I see a couple comments over there, so we'll get to you. All right, the next one, that was progress is progress, right? So the next one is accountability works. Working in community, cameras on. I sat right over there on that couch with my camera on the whole time I was going through those notebooks. So cameras on, shared updates, and timed blocks that helped participants avoid distraction and keep momentum going. So what we did is we started at the top of the hour. We started at noon Eastern time. We had about 20 minutes or so of discussion and game planning and just welcoming everybody in. And then we all went on mute, and Ed set a timer for us. Ed's EDZ, for those of you that don't know Ed's, she set a timer for us, and we worked for 30 minutes. So we all independently worked on our own stuff. So I worked on my notebooks, Barbara worked on her project, everybody worked on their own projects. And then we would come back, and we had some of the best conversations. We had really great conversations. So it's worth doing the Project Palooza on demand is worth 10 times the price of that because of the conversations we had in between the projects, the work time. We call that
we learn from each other, and that we always do learn from each other. So.
Yeah, exactly. And we do a form of that every week. Our SOAR to Success members, and SOAR is systemize and organize with action and reference. And we have a program for that. And all of our members come every single week. They don't come every week, but they can, and many do. On Tuesdays and Fridays, we meet and we do what we call co-working sessions. So it's similar to what we did in Project Palooza, where we all move something forward that we're doing. So accountability works. Knowing that I had to come back and report back to the group kept me focused on those notebooks. And number 7, last but not least, regret can be a powerful motivator. That brings us back to Barbara's question, is in terms of legacy. If you were to leave this earth tonight, what regret would you have? And that regret could be a project. That's what several people in the group came and did. They came and did the project that was the answer to that question. Go ahead, Barbara. Were you going to say
there's
something?
another word that is appropriate here, and that's the word shame. Mm-hmm. There is so much shame around clutter. There just is. I mean, that's just what we've seen over and over. And it's because, first of all, it's clutter because of what it represents. The things that we're not, if you go back to our premise of clutter is postponed decisions, the reason we're not making the decisions is because of a fear of making a mistake, fear of being wrong, fear of forgetting, fear of offending someone, fear of letting go and then wanting it back again. And it's hard. And so then that makes us ashamed. It's like we've talked about this many times, that when people quote clutter as postponed decisions, they often add an adverb, and they will say clutter is merely postponed decisions, or simply postponed decisions, or only postponed decisions. And if you're having trouble making decisions and somebody says, well, clutter is just postponed decisions, you feel ashamed. And so when we were together and we saw everybody struggling in certain ways, we could lift each other up. And that's just so powerful. So
it makes all the difference. It makes all the difference in the world. So just to start to wrap up, our guest coach, Stephanie, that was there, she helps people get underneath procrastination, perfectionism, and people pleasing. We all do a little bit of that, right? The procrastination, the perfectionism, and people pleasing, and pairing that kind of work with what PEI does with the systems creates phenomenal results. And so that was just a lot of fun to all work together and have the different insights in the program. So you guys would hear all that if you do the Paper Palooza on demand. You'll hear that all of those conversations. You won't hear the private conversations in the private Zoom rooms. You won't hear those, but you'll hear when we come back into the group. And it was just so much fun. So let me just share a couple things as we wrap. Kathy Music is New Path Productivity. She's one of our certified productive environment specialists. And she said, Project Palooza was a wonderful opportunity to focus on a specific project and make real progress. I deleted items from my task manager that had been hanging around far too long. We all have those. We have our little task list, and you make these lists with the best of intentions. And so she decided to spend her time doing that, which is awesome. So just a couple things to give you kind of some next steps. Is that, we hear again and again that the key wasn't finishing everything. It was remembering that progress is progress. Even small steps create momentum and help you feel lighter. So we want you to just think about a project that matters to you. What might be an idea of a project for you? Post it wherever you're watching this from. Say, I have this box of books that I've been needing to figure out what to do with, or whatever, writing the book, whatever that is. And ask yourself, if I were to leave this earth tonight, what regret would I have? And maybe there's a project in there. Okay. Tell us about it. So we do want to make Project Palooza on demand available to you. So Ed, if you'll pop up that website, that would be awesome. So you'll get the discussion points. When you enroll, you'll get immediate access to the recorded workshop. And I do have a coupon code. So listen up. Don't go there just yet. I can save you some money. So when you enroll, you'll get immediate access to the recorded workshop with the same structure that we went through live together. So we do want you to block off 3 hours. Don't try to do it in pieces and parts. You could if you had to, but we recommend you do a whole block.
There's so much power in the blocks of time,
yes,
because you get a momentum going. You don't have to go back and regroup again. So if you can block out 3 hours, it would be really advantageous.
Truly. And then you'll get the discussion points between the work sessions, which, like I said, I believe are worth 10 times the price of the workshop, just those alone. Plus, you'll get support within the private workspace, so you don't have to do it alone. So just visit productiveenvironment.com/project-palooza. And we do have a special coupon code for our listeners. If you enter on the page, enter the coupon code project100 and you'll get $100 off. So it's $197. And if you enter that, you'll get it for $97. Okay. So that's a great deal. So project100 at checkout to save more than 50%. Okay. And for those of you that aren't quite ready for that, be sure to visit lesscluttermorelife.com for a free training. So it's a short free training, lesscluttermorelife.com. Okay. So thank you all for joining us. We're so thrilled to have you here listening, and wherever you're listening from or watching from, please post a comment. Let us know you were there. Let us know what you thought of this, and let us know if you're thinking about a particular project that you'd like to work on. Until next time, have a great week.